Hey guys, good to see everybody. It's been a while, and this is awesome to be back talking about baseball. Very fortunate. First thing I wanted to say is we're lucky. Dave Hickey is our athletic director, Derek Vandermeer, Dr. Paul have done everything they can to get us back in position to be on the field again on a daily basis. We've been together about 7 weeks relative to small group skill instruction, and then started our team practice last weekend, and we're moving. For the first time, it feels a little bit like normal, and very grateful for that, and certainly not taking it for granted. Excited about our team and where we think we can go. Right now, it's purely development of fundamentals, getting rebooted. It's not lost on us as a coaching staff that even our returning players lost 3 to 4 months of game opportunity to test their skill, and so we've kind of gone back to day one type fundamentals in each area of the game, and excited to build our team around those, and looking forward to getting back out and competing and enjoying this fall training period that we have.
Thanks, Coach. Our first question will go to Michael Lev, Arizona Daily Star.
Hey, Jay.
Michael.
You used the word normal there, which is not a word that has been used very often over the last several months, except when people put the word new in front of it, the new normal. How would you compare what you are able to do right now to what you normally would be able to do in a fall practice setting?
Yeah, the practice plans look relatively the same for this type of year. I mean, players are wearing masks. We're a little more spread out. We're certainly fortunate here at Arizona to have the spring training complex behind us, so we can kind of spread our team out for individual drills. Another quick shout out to the city of Tucson for helping us out with that during this pandemic, and it's allowed us to function at a high level. But in terms of fundamentals, putting things in, we have a very deliberate progression, offensively, base running, bunting, defensive individual skills, and team defense. And we're working through that right now in terms of the same way that we have in the past. And so other than wearing a mask, being a little bit more deliberate about spreading out, again, another lot of good work by people at the University of Arizona and our athletic department to get us in position to this. Our trainer, Isaac Trujillo, has done a great job as well. And yeah, so honestly, there's been no change in terms of how we function other than the things that we need to do to prevent the spread of the virus.
To the best of your knowledge, what is the schedule looking like for 2021 as far as the games?
Right now, we are pressing forward with the schedule that we have in place. I think what I've learned is you've watched the football season change 3 or 4 times, in watching college basketball, move. Their start date was originally going to be January 1st, back to November 25th. 7 non-conference games. I think I read something about that. The advantage we have is baseball is a naturally socially distant sport. We're outside. I think there's some questions to be answered as far as testing and those types of things. As Pac-12 coaches, we've spent a lot of time together on Zoom meetings. But right now we have been told to plan to proceed as normal, and looking forward to that schedule and what that looks like. I think we're all very realistic and understanding that could change at any moment. Right now, we're hopeful to play the schedule as we have it outlined.
Next question will go to Jason Barr with K-Gun.
Yeah, hi, Coach. Good afternoon. What did you think of Bobby Delbach's performance with the Red Sox?
So awesome. Yeah, I really, it's always cool when you have a player make it to the major leagues. That's a really great feeling as a coach. I'm just so happy for Bobby, and I've said this before, of the unselfishness that he played with during his last year here. Obviously, you see what an elite hitting player he is. He's not a prospect anymore. He's a major league hitter. But what he did for us on the mound, and his willingness to sacrifice maybe what was in his best interest at that time for the good of that team. It wasn't just getting to the College World Series in 2016. he's really set us up well in terms of future possibilities of recruiting two-way players. Those types of things. You point to a guy like that and go, this guy's potential future all-star hitting in the middle of the order for the Boston Red Sox and was one of the best pitchers in the country that year. I'm just so happy for him, and not surprised, when you think of his character, and you can see different qualities when players play for you of how important baseball was, how important becoming a major league player was to Bobby. And he's put in the work, and it took him, 4.5 years, whatever it was, 3.5. And I'm just really, really proud of him. And I think he's going to be set up for long-term success. And the Red Sox are certainly lucky to have him.
How do you get him to not strike out so much? He did great, but he was striking out every other bat. Is that just going to come with time, or does he have to not swing for the fences? What do you say? How do you improve that?
Well, the first answer would be, I think major league pitching is a little bit different. I mean, those guys are running up 100-mile-an-hour arms like it's nobody's business with nasty sliders, and I think it's just like anything else. Until you see those types of quality pitches on a daily basis, the more he sees it, the better that he's going to be. Now, in hitting, there's always trade-offs. If you want more contact, you're going to sacrifice power. If you want to control one side of the plate or one side of the zone, you're going to give up a little bit somewhere. And so I think they appear, and we play a different game here in college baseball than they do at the major league level, but I think they're basically saying we're going to trade off the power and the impact swings for a little bit more swing and miss. But I have no doubt with his aptitude, with his work ethic, that he'll get better as he goes.
Next question will go to Brian Peterson, AZ Desert Swarm.
Hey, Coach. Back in June around the draft, you said there were a couple of those seniors that weren't going to be coming back, and now I see that Dayton Dooney has announced his transfer to Tennessee. Is there anyone else from last year's roster that you were expecting back that are not coming back, that didn't get drafted or were not one of those seniors?
Blake Klassen did not return. Tate Soderstrom did not return. But other than that, I think we're pretty much everybody else is in the boat.
And the figuring out scholarships and all that, how's that been going? I know you got some relief by having the ability to spread them out more and a little smaller. Was it still a difficult process?
No, it takes work, it takes communication, it takes trust between the player and the coaching staff and the families. And we have good kids on our team, good kids in our program, great families that, really understood the situation. Great administration, and helped where they could. And honestly, we were able to navigate it pretty easily.
So what's the roster size going to be for you this year?
To be determined. We're not at a final point, nor do we declare it until the game 1 of the season.
Oh, okay.
And there is no limitation for this year. So,
okay.
It'll be a fluid situation would be my guess.
Next question will be David Kelly, KVOA.
Hey, Jay, can you hear me okay? I'm driving.
All right. What's happening, David?
Hey, how are you?
Good.
Hey, just kind of follow on. Get a chance to talk to Jared Oliva about his experience being up that last week with Pittsburgh. And also just in terms of the testing, like, are you guys going to be in a daily testing protocol in the fall, or will that be something that won't happen until the spring?
Yeah, first off, in regards to Jared, again, another great story. I don't know how familiar you guys are with that, but he was cut from his high school team at one point. He was a redshirt here at Arizona, and then really came into his own in 2016 in the back half of the year, and was an All-American in 2017. Really was great at making adjustments, but he's a special person, all the way around. Character, work ethic, perseverance. He's a terrific athlete, and great example. I mean, if you had a team full of guys like Jared Oliva, you would be very successful. And I did get to talk to him a lot. We were going to catch up here on the phone also in the next couple weeks, but very exciting for him. Excited for him. And another guy that I think has a really, really good future in front of him. And, these two guys are easy to root for in terms of Bobby and Jared. And, we've talked about them, with our team at length. I mentioned the selflessness in Bobby's case and the perseverance in Jared's case. Those are great examples. In terms of the testing, right now we are going twice a week. Our players are getting tested on Mondays and Thursdays.
Next question will be Christian Mortensen, AZ Desert Swarm. Christian, you appear to be muted.
What's going on, Coach? Can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
Cool. My question is, with all the uncertainty that COVID has brought along with it, how helpful is it to some of the younger guys to have upperclassmen like Dante Williams and Vince Finelli around for that senior season?
It's a big deal. And we haven't had a ton of seniors the last few years on our rosters. And as a coach that appreciates experience, appreciates leadership, it's very valuable, to have, Dante, Vince, those guys in the fold. We're actually working with them continually on how to be a good leader. It's a skill you got to learn. And so they're doing a good job with that. It's a very unique roster where we have guys on a lot of extremes. You have fifth-year older players. You have guys coming into college baseball for the first time. There's a couple four-year transfers in the mix, a couple JC transfers. So, really getting together as a team and getting on the same page with things is incredibly important. And we're not always allowed to do the things that we would do to do that, obviously, because of the pandemic. And so I'm going to rely on Vince and Dante and guys like Jacob Blass, guys like Quinn Flanagan, that have some unique leadership skills. Brandon Bossier comes to mind as well. And they'll be extremely critical, in our team's success. Their ability to lead and ability to set good examples and build good rapport with the younger players will go a long way in determining how successful this team is.
Thank you.
Next question will be Shotgun Spratling, D1 Baseball.
Hey Jay, what's recruiting been like for you this offseason? A lot of times you probably have your class for next year, a lot of those guys already, but evaluations and kind of seeing those younger classes, what's it been like for you?
Well, first off, I'm impressed you're here. I love that, by the way. Secondly, that beard is equally impressive. So I don't know. You might have to lose that by the time we get to baseball season. You might not be able to get your camera up over it. It's been unique. This whole thing is like nothing any of us have ever seen. And, I've been doing this now for 20 years where I've kind of got into a flow of the calendar, if you will, in terms of development with the team, recruiting. I like going out. I like seeing players especially in the summertime when we don't have players on campus. So it's been a learning experience. I like to be convicted in the decisions that we make as a program on players that we bring in. And with some of the younger classes, we've actually had to bypass on players that maybe we wouldn't have if we would have gotten to see them. I just want to be very sure about the guys we bring in. I think if there was ever a year, not for the coronavirus, but to be disrupted in recruiting where it was maybe okay, for us, it was this year, because we had a great recruiting class in 2020, some really, really solid foundational pieces with some of the young players as freshmen, with the roster getting backed up a little bit with everybody retaining a year of eligibility. I think we're going to be able to navigate it fine. We're excited about the class that we'll bring in November and sign. They'll complement these guys well. But we've actually taken a little bit of a step back recently and just decided that we really want to be sure on the decisions we're making. And if we have to be a little more patient than we typically are over the next couple of months, I'm okay with that.
We have time for one more question for Coach, and that'll be Michael Lev, Arizona Daily Star.
I just want to go back to something you said earlier. There's no limitation on how big the roster can be this year?
That's correct for this year.
Okay. How many newcomers do you have overall right now?
14 or 15.
14 or 15. And how many of those are freshmen and how many transfers, if you happen to know?
Yeah, I think the easier way would be the transfer side of it. I believe there's 4 transfers and 10 freshmen.
Okay. Is Austin Smith one of those transfers?
Yes.
What can you tell us about him?
Yeah, his first outing on Saturday, threw the ball extremely well, extremely hard. He's a great athlete. He used to be a shortstop, so his ability to get the ball to the plate quickly, get off the mound, field his position. He obviously has an electric right arm. I think I've been equally impressed with the character piece of it, the maturity piece of it. It's not a guy that's walking in and trying to feel things out. He's here to accomplish some things and help our team be successful, and has fit in tremendously. He's living with 3 returning players and has meshed really well with this group. And I'm certainly excited that we won that recruiting battle and that Austin is here.
Sure. And finally, I know it's really early, but are there any freshmen that you feel like are pretty likely to have an immediate contribution to the 2021 team?
Well, I think there's a number of them that can, as how I would answer that. I think that the talent in this particular group exceeds any that we've had at any one time. I think it'd be disrespectful to any of the players on our team to say, hey, this guy's got this position. In my opinion, every spot on the field is an open competition at this point in time. And I say that out of respect for every player. You know, Dante and Vince, you know, obviously they bring things to the table that we know they can be successful at. And I expect them to be able to do those types of things for our team. But there's a lot of guys we feel good about. I think there's a lot of guys that can impact the game in different ways, both on the mound, defensively, and at the plate. And I'm really looking forward to see how the mix all kind of comes together. Several of them have opened my eyes and our coaching staff's eyes in a really positive way, but it'd be way premature to say, hey, this guy's going to play here, and we're not even remotely there yet. I think last Friday night, I just kind of took a deep breath and said, man, this is so great to be back here with the lights on and even a 3-inning scrimmage happening.
All right, thank you, Coach. Next up will be outfielder Dante Williams. It'll be just a minute while we get things ready. In the meantime, if you have a question, please raise your hand and we'll get around to you. All right, our first question for Dante will be David Kelly, KVOA.
Hey, Dante, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good. Hey, just who is your favorite defensive center fielder to watch play?
That's kind of tough.
And why?
Okay, that's kind of tough. I'm a big fan of Jackie Bradley Jr. I feel like the two of us, play the game alike. The speed component in the outfield, the ability to cover ground in the outfield, the spectacular plays he makes. And then even on the offensive side, I feel like the both of us compare to each other. And then Kevin Kiermaier, he's just special out in center field, just makes unreal catches, unreal arm. So those two players probably stand out to me the most.
And historically, is there a guy that maybe you look back at some old film and say, wow, that's a guy I really like as well?
Oh, always. Yeah. Willie Mays, Ken Griffey Jr., two of my favorite players, just kind of being out there and running the outfield like it's nobody's business.
All right, next question, we'll go to Michael Lev, Arizona Daily Star.
Hey, Dante. How would you compare this fall camp so far to others? Does it seem the same? Does it seem different in certain ways?
Since the whole COVID pandemic, you kind of try to view everything as the same. We're finally back on the field and doing the same things we would do as a normal fall. But at the same time, it's just like you can't engage as much as you want with players, the locker room situation. So it's like at some point it's the same, and then at some point it's different. But as far as getting the work in on the field, I feel like we haven't missed a beat, and it's right where we left off.
Are there certain restrictions that you guys have as far as the clubhouse goes?
Yeah, it's just following protocols and keeping the team and the players in the best situation as possible.
How would you describe your summer ball journey that you had?
I mean, it was just kind of this past summer, just kind of unexpected. Was very concerned about COVID and everything, and then at some point I was just like, I need to play baseball. I want to play baseball. That's my life. So got an opportunity and made the most of it. Played for a great summer team in Texas, and built relationships and learned the game even more out there.
Were you on the same team as Austin Smith or a different team?
No, different team, same league though.
Did you face him at any point?
No, I think I may have gotten there after we played their team.
Do we have any more questions for Dante? I do not see. Yes, Michael, go ahead.
Is it possible to enjoy the college experience under these circumstances?
As an athlete, we came here for one reason and one reason only, or like two reasons: school and become an athlete. And since the pandemic happened, it's just important that you have to be aware of why you came here. I mean, there are times you have to be stuck in your house instead of going out to get food or something. So it just pretty much to me just explains like how much baseball really means and having a season really means to somebody. Being able to follow the protocols and being able to follow all the stuff off the field and what you're doing off the field and just making sure your life is straight to be able to go and compete in the spring and even the fall.
Our next question will be David Kelly again, KVOA.
Hey, just to follow on that, Dante, how are you guys policing that among yourselves, making sure that the guys are staying in lane, staying on protocol, not going to parties? I mean, if you set up a kangaroo court to find guys that break the rules?
I mean, just like Jay mentioned earlier, Vince and I were part of a leadership group, and it's just being the leaders on the team and just making sure our teammates want the season as much as we do. So it's if we're in a bad situation with a teammate or something, just something along those lines, just always reach out to them and just make it a point that like we're gonna play this year, and we don't want anybody or anything to happen for us to put that in jeopardy.
All right, we have time for one more question for Dante, and we'll go to Christian Mortensen, AZ Desert Swarm.
What's going on, Dante? You kind of touched stepping into more of a leadership role this year. Can you just take us through a little bit what that looks like for you personally, aside from COVID?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's we have a lot of newcomers, a lot of transfers and everything. So it's just I'm not the most vocal person out there, but at the same time, it's just like leading by example. And I've been here for 4 years now, and it's just kind of taking the younger guys under my wing and inviting them for a bite to eat or something, just kind of getting that connection. It's hard to do that, especially with COVID, but just getting that connection and just holding them accountable, holding myself accountable for my actions, and just kind of giving them a pathway to see how things are ran around the program. And, things need to be different. So, just kind of stepping up and, not being normal, not being the same as, everybody else.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, Dante. Next, we're going to have right-handed pitcher Vince Finelli. It'll take us just a sec to get set up. If you have questions for Vince, go ahead and begin raising hands now.
Thank you, guys.
All right, first question for Vince will be Michael Lev, Arizona Daily Star.
Hey there, Vince. How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Pretty good. Thanks. Can you take us through your thought process regarding the decision to come back this year, which of course was made available to any seniors who were impacted by the stoppage in the spring?
Yeah. I mean, obviously the cancellation of our season last year was just very disappointing, and it was left a lot of uncertainty to a lot of the seniors. And I did not think I would be coming back because I didn't think the NCAA was going to allow seniors to come back. So when they said that seniors were allowed to come back, it opened up a huge another pathway for me, because I was all thinking that I was going to go start my professional career, and then draft comes around, nothing happened, a free agent opportunity. But I was talking to Coach Yeski very closely, and he was kind of like guiding me through it. He was pointing out that there was going to be no minor league season. So realistically, it was my best interest to come back here and win a national championship. And just really, I believe this is the best decision I've made by far, having another year to work with Yeski.
Sure. Did the fact that they reduced the draft to 5 rounds and also put a cap on how much free agents could sign for, were those factors in your decision as well?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, 5 rounds, I think it was normally a draft's like around like
40.
like 50. Yeah. I forget how many total players are drafted, but it's a large like decrease in like the sample size that are getting drafted. So, I mean, I thought maybe there was a shot, maybe like 4th or 5th round, but I'm still very content with where I am, and I'm very happy that I came back here.
And where are you at academically at this point in your college career?
I just graduated in the summertime, and now I'm just doing non-degree seeking classes, just so I can focus on baseball right now.
Next question will go to Shotgun Spratling, D1 Baseball.
Hey, Vince, having a second year with Nate Yeski, you touched on it, but where do you think this pitching staff can go in the second year under him?
Legit anywhere. I mean, Coach Yeski is probably one of the greatest baseball minds I've been around, and there's no secret to why he was the pitching coach of the year like 2 or 3 times. But he keeps preaching to us about being competitive and always giving everything we have on every day, because our baseball lifetime can never really be predicted. I mean, today could be the last day that we play. So realistically, he's just trying to teach us competitiveness, and he's giving us a lot of insight on what we need to do to get better. But personally, I think this is probably one of the best pitching staffs I've been with. And there's a lot of guys that can compete, and there's going to be a lot of guys that are going to be really, really good this year.
Any of the young guys from last year that, maybe got a little bit of experience early in that season that you think are going to take some really big jumps this year?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest ones, Hunter Cope. He's our 7-foot tall right-handed pitcher. I mean, he was over the summertime. I was FaceTiming him, and he was sending me videos of him hitting like 97. It's crazy to see because he's so tall, and it just comes straight down on that plane, and it's just so hard to hit, especially with his curveball. I mean, he literally reminds me of Glass now from Tampa Bay. So.
Our next question will be David Kelly, KVOA.
Hey, Vince, just with this whole COVID thing, how are you guys trying to police each other to stay on track to obviously ensure that you guys have a season come spring? And can you do that? I mean, do you get mad at a kid if you hear that he went to a party or he's out, doing things that maybe you prefer he's not doing?
Yeah, so we have a lot of trust within each other, and we kind of all realize why we're all here. And at the very beginning of the season, or when we first got back to campus, we all we all got on Zoom, and we began to talk about why we're here, and we all want to win a national championship, and that's our main goal, and everything else is just a distraction at this point. So if you're not on board, then we're gonna will ya to come and join the train, because I feel like this is going to be a very special season for us, and there's little to no distractions right now, which is perfect for us.
Our next question is be Christian Mortensen, Izzy Desert Swarm.
What's going on, Vince? I asked Dante and Coach Johnson about this. How do you feel like you've become more of a leader, being that this is your senior season at Arizona? You've been here 2 or 3 seasons now as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is going to be my upcoming 3rd season here, but realistically, I'm not a like very big vocal guy, but what I really want to do is leave this program better than when I found it. And I want to leave my fingerprints all over this program through all the hard work and like all the extra hours that can be taught to the younger guys and how to do certain things that can really benefit other teammates, because it's not really about me. It's about every other pitcher that's on the staff and how I can help them, and just kind of discuss like mental approach, just like certain things like that can really benefit a younger guy.
All right, we have time for one more question for Vince, and that'll go to Michael Lev, Arizona Daily Star.
Vince, what were you able to do once things got shut down to stay in shape, keep your arm in shape? Where were you and what were you doing?
Yeah, so when we found out, I stayed in Arizona for probably like about 2 weeks trying to get my life sorted out. And then I flew home to Ohio, and I was in a conversation with Coach Yeski, and we began to talk about some training things that I can do that would prepare me for either next year or professional baseball. But I've been working with Tread Athletics, who's like the drive line of the East Coast in North Carolina, and they've really helped me with my mechanics and velocity a lot. And one thing they really wanted me was I ended the season last year around 220 pounds. And right now I'm sitting around 200, 201. So I lost 20 pounds, and it's just been a lot of dieting, nutrition, and I've been really getting after it in the weight room as well. So just translating that to the mound is a huge thing. And I've never been more prepared for a season than this year.
So Jay said right toward the end when we were talking to him that he just kind of felt really grateful that you guys are able to do anything out there after what happened in spring. Is that sort of the general vibe, would you say, among everyone?
I mean, it's really crazy to think about that. Like I forget how long we've been in quarantine, but like the thought that we would all be out there playing baseball again under the lights, it was just crazy because it felt like we were back to like normal almost. But realistically, like with all the restrictions, we don't care. We just want to play. That's all we want to do.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody. That's all we have time for today. I appreciate everybody joining us. If you have any follow-up questions, feel free to send me an email or give me a call. We'll have more availabilities as fall rolls on, but that's all we got for now. All right. Thank you, everybody.